Welcome to the Divorce to Dynamite podcast. I'm Michelle O'Neill. I can't wait to introduce you to my guest today. Her name is Jeanette Chivvis. Did I say that right? Mm-hmm. Okay. I was going to practice before we started. And
You're perfect.
Okay. All right. She's had several names, and I've known them, all of them, but I was practicing this one. Is that bad?
No.
So Jeanette is here with us today. She is a counselor and the founder of Serenity Springs Wellness, which is a counseling center in Rockwall.
Yes.
Right? Rockwall?
Yes.
And this is a new iteration of Jeanette, and it is a fabulous, I love it. It is the most peaceful I've ever seen Jeanette. So the purpose of Serenity Springs Wellness is to provide people with a safe place to be heard, seen, and supported while offering tools to transform their lives so that they may live free, experiencing serenity and peace in their lives. Mm-hmm. So, you have not always been a counselor.
No.
Tell me what inspired now. So how many years have you been a counselor now?
Well, 2.5.
That's what, yeah.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say, about 2 years.
Yes.
So before being a counselor, just real briefly, give us the Reader's Digest overview.
I love Reader's Digest.
Of who was Jeanette before Jeanette became a counselor?
Jeanette was a celebrity stylist. And
Stylist of the stars.
Yes.
In Hollywood.
In LA for 10 years and then Dallas.
Yeah.
And I worked on television and in commercials and on film.
Yeah.
And I was on camera as an expert, as well as I help make other people beautiful on camera. So any kind of online shopping you do that you see all the models, that takes a whole team to put that together. And I was part of that, like with Neiman's, JCPenney, Container Store, I mean, all kinds of stuff.
And you're amazing at that. I'm just
thank
saying,
you.
like, okay, now you did not have anything to do with this, so if this is not
that's
amazing,
all Michelle. She looks
Jeanette
amazing.
did not do this. I'm just saying, but you have done that for me occasionally for photo shoots and other things, and gone shopping for me.
I loved it.
I mean, just amazing. But then what made you decide to leave the celebrity fashion dressing business and go and get your master's at Liberty University and become a counselor?
Well, it's something that I think with Divorce to Dynamite, right? I had gotten a divorce and it just didn't fit anymore. I was burned out. I was at the top of my career, but I hated going to work. And I was like, what's going on? Because I used to love it. Like I would just eat, breathe, and sleep it, in my 20s and 30s. And it was like, I got to a point where I'm like, I was resentful of my job. I didn't like it. And I went through kind of a 12-step program, kind of a spiritual 12-step program at church. Because I realized after my divorce, like, I needed to get back who I was. Like, what did Jeanette want? Who was Jeanette? Who was Jeanette made to be? And where am I going to find peace in my life? Because I had tried fame, I had tried men, I had tried alcohol, I had tried everything, and I wasn't at peace. And so I came back to where I started in my faith and went through this 12-step program, and it changed my life because I got in touch with who I was, whose I was, and who I was. And it helped me to really identify what I really wanted and not what other people told me I was or let the world defining me versus like what I really wanted and needed. And I think a lot of women coming from a divorce, it's been about your husband, it's been about your children. Right? It's been about even your career, and you get divorced and you're like, who am I? And I can't tell you how many women I work with in therapy that don't know. And I said, you know what? We're gonna have just a new glow up. We're gonna glow up from the inside out. And that's kind of what I did. And then after I went through that, it was like, man, I felt such freedom. I realized I didn't have to perform for an audience of like a television audience. I didn't need everyone else's approval or applause. I just needed an audience of one. And that was, Jesus, my Lord, because I am a Christian. And I was like, wow, what peace. I want everybody else to feel this peace. And whether or not they're a Christian or not, to realize that other people's opinions should not define you.
Yeah. You know, I find that so interesting, the concept that as a 30-year divorce lawyer, and I'm not here as a divorce lawyer, but with all the women that I've worked with, whether they've been my clients or the opposing side, how many women get lost in their relationships? Like they lose themselves. You know, it's we like to do this or we like to do that. And they forget what they are or who they are as an individual, what they like to do as an individual. And that's one of the things that, one of the pillars of that I like to tell women in this post-divorce empowerment idea is go meet yourself again. Reintroduce yourself to yourself.
Yes, that is exactly, and sometimes you need help doing that.
Sure,
right?
Absolutely.
You need help doing that. You need to find a community, right? Like a group, like Divorce to Dynamite, you know, or a community of faith, or even just finding a therapist.
Or a hobby. Oh my gosh, a hobby.
Yeah.
When I was 18, I liked to paint.
Yeah, where did that go?
Well, why haven't I painted in 20 years, right? Or, I mean, whatever. I mean, it can be anything. Or just to re-find yourself. Or to find something absolutely new.
Yes. That's organic and that's really you.
Yes.
Right. That feels well and sits well in your spirit. You know, like you said, I painted when I was younger and I haven't done that. And it's like the opposite of depression is expression. And so you go back to those things when you were younger. I literally went back to my journals when I was in high school and was like, what did I like to do? What was it? And it was always people, like loving on people, helping people. But I also have to be careful, you know, because I have to still take care of myself. Right. And I'm not. And also another thing is learning how not to abandon yourself for others.
Yes.
Because I think when we're coming out of divorce, we've abandoned ourselves. It happens naturally. There's nothing wrong with it. You have to if you get married and you have kids, but you can get lost in that. And learning to not abandon yourself, even at the simplest
Put the oxygen mask on yourself
first, and you can help others. Yes. That.
Yeah. I think that's hard though for us women. I think we're just ingrained. Both, I think, naturally as women, I think it just comes naturally to us, and then I think also societally.
Oh yeah,
we are ingrained, to put others first and to nurture others first, and compromise ourselves.
Right, because that's what good girls do, don't they? They put everybody else first, and we do have that nurturing side, and it is a hard balance. But once you decide and you have that kind of training to make it first, like, wait a minute, I don't feel good. Why am I going to this party? Oh, I don't want so-and-so to be mad at me. Oh, red flag.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I don't feel good.
Right.
I'm not going. Right? I'll send a note or I'll take her to lunch later, but why am I doing that? But even that's just
send some flowers.
Yes, but that's so simple.
No, you know what? I love Tiff's Treats.
Oh yes.
I just got my email yesterday that I'm a annual member of the Tiff's Treats Club, and you know why I joined the annual membership of the Tiff's Treats Club?
Why?
So I could send Tiff's treats when I need to
bow out.
Yeah, send a thing.
Well, you have a lot of people in your life, and you got to take care of Michelle too.
Well, I mean, I have a lot of expectations on me.
Yes.
And then here I am doing a podcast.
I know.
It's all great.
But this gives you joy, doesn't it?
I love it. I love it. That's one of the things that I found. I found a lot of inspiration. I kind of had a breakthrough a couple of months ago about something that happened that I really hadn't even resonated with. A story that my dad had told me. And I kind of hadn't even remembered it. Whenever I was 10 years old, and it was like the time when I remember my dad telling me that he wanted me to be a lawyer and he wanted me to get an education and be independent. And he's like, you can't depend on a man. Don't ever depend on a man. But the background of why he told me that was that he was really telling me the story about how my mother was married before him. And at 10 years old, like, I didn't get it. Like, I didn't even really remember that he told me that until very recently. And I was like, wait a minute, like, I missed the whole dang point of that whole conversation, you know? And his point of that conversation was to tell me that my mother was married to this very abusive man that beat the crap out of her and beat her so badly that she had multiple miscarriages.
Oh my gosh.
And this was in the 60s when you couldn't, you know, a woman didn't have a bank account. She didn't have money. She didn't have a credit card.
They couldn't even get a credit card.
How does a woman like that leave a marriage? No family support. Like they were just like him. Like, why do you leave your husband? Like, oh, he beats you? That's what all husbands do, you know? And, you know, and his point was to tell me her experience because she was trapped in that marriage and it took all the strength she had to leave that marriage. And she basically, it was like stay and die or leave and hope to live.
It was survival.
Yeah.
It was survival.
And I didn't realize really until like very, very recently, like, wait a minute, like that was the point. Not like, oh, go be a lawyer and don't need a man. Like the point was survival.
But that's the nugget that was life defining for you.
Well, not only life defining, Jeanette, but mission. Like think about mission. Think about the mission statement that has been my life statement for 30 years. I've been a divorce lawyer. Not just helping women, I help men too.
Yeah.
Like I you know, as a professional,
right?
Like I'm sure you don't just counsel women. You
no,
also,
I have men and couples and
men
kids and everything. Yeah.
But it's been the mission statement of my life to help people who are, you know, in marriages and need or want out for whatever reason. But here recently, it has become more and more of a mission to empower women. And I finally realized why. I just had this breakthrough of why. And it was my dad in my head talking to me, I believe, from heaven, saying, hey, girl, remember that conversation we had like 40 years ago? 40 years ago. Like, here's why. Now we know.
Now, how did that come to you? Was it through therapy or was it through like self-reflection? What was it?
Self-reflection is kind of my form of therapy I feel like I've been in this place for maybe a couple of years.
Yeah.
Of like, what does life, it's a 50-year-old woman problem. I'm not 50 anymore. I'm not 50 anymore. But ladies, when you turn 50, it's like a 50-year-old woman problem of like, what has my life meant? And what is my life going to mean?
Yes. That's part of that starting over too, because it was like, I put clothes on people. Like, if you really get down to it, it's just like, what does that serve? And I want something deeper and more meaningful.
And I think many women go through this. I think sometimes it's part of women getting a divorce. Right? Sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes it can be an impetus for divorce. Sometimes it can be an impetus for career change. You know, for me, it was an impetus for like, I break up marriages. Like, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Oh, but hold on. Let's put a pin in that for a second.
Yeah. I mean, it can be both.
Okay, but you don't break up marriages. They do. They come to you.
I get that.
Hold up.
I get that.
Don't take that responsibility on.
I get that. I'm not taking that on me.
Okay,
I'm saying just like from a metaphysical standpoint.
Yes, I hear what you're saying. Yes.
Like, you know, there's pediatric oncologists that save children from cancer.
Yes,
like,
I gotcha.
From a metaphysical standpoint, like I'm a divorce lawyer, like is that really adding positivity to the world? And that was my self-reflection of like, what is the mission that God has given me to be doing this? And the self-reflection that I was doing, and I feel like it was God / my daddy sitting there kind of going, remember that conversation we had when you were 10?
Wow.
And I told you this story for a reason.
Cool.
And I just, at 10, like, you aren't going to, I didn't even remember it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, remember the rest of that 20 minutes that you were just sitting there like, I want to go watch TV now? Are we done? And I'm like, that was the point. Like, that's the point of the whole thing. And I've missed it for all these years. And now I get it. You know, now I get it. And it's kind of the point. You said something to me whenever, I don't know, a couple of years ago when we were talking about you and your mission, your new mission for the counseling, and how you kind of saw your past and your future going together. You were talking about like how you wanted to help empower women to see how they can both go through counseling and empower themselves, but also use clothing to help themselves see themselves differently. Talk about that.
Yes, empowerment, right? When we go through divorce, things happen to us, but we can't let them define us. Victim mentality doesn't get us anywhere, right? We have to be empowered, right? We take responsibility for change in our life. And that's what I did, and I did it from the inside out. I mean, I used to have bleach blonde hair. You know, it's like I've changed
Which I
too.
loved your bleach blonde hair. I love the new hair too, but your blonde hair was great.
Well, we never know. We might go back to it. But I do think that like from the inside out, like you can marry those two, right? And I think it's important. I think that's part of it is working on yourself. Like, who am I? And then working through that and then letting it come through on the outside, like as far as style and hair and clothes and changing, just like everything. It's such an opportunity to reinvent yourself.
I also think that there's times where you can just feel so bad about yourself, and then you can get a haircut, or you can go buy a new outfit and put on that new dress or those
earrings.
new shoes,
Yes.
or fabulous earrings. You have
like
on
this.
fabulous earrings
Yes.
today, and like just that one thing on the outside can help influence the inside to feel better, and that's what I like about kind of that marriage of those two things for you. And you're doing something with young girls too, with teenage girls in the summertime, right? Where you're doing like little like empowerment camps for young women.
Body positivity.
Yes, talk about that.
Yeah.
That's so great. I'm
well,
so excited
because
about that.
social media with the kids, and I have two daughters, and
it's hard.
whoa, right? And so I felt really called to do that, use my counseling and my fashion and beauty and style, but doing from a positive point of view and not a critical point of view, being criticized that you need to be skinny, you need to do your makeup like this, you need to dress like this, only this size person can wear this.
Yes.
And so we did a lot of that and a lot of empowerment. And it's funny because I did that for, I guess, 2 summers. And some of those girls are now going into 7th and 8th grade, and they're my clients.
Oh, yeah.
Because their mothers had called me and said, hey, do you take kids? And I was like, well, over 10, you know. But we worked a lot on that. And so many things are there we've got to break. That thinking of I have to look like this, I have to have this skincare, even down to like buying the skincare.
Right.
Skincare is a big deal with the kids right now, and perfect size, or having they call it a guillot, which is a great butt.
Oh God.
Oh, that's the thing.
Oh God.
Yes.
I didn't know that
And
was
like
a
if you
thing.
don't have that, then you need to like work toward that, and you're not as pretty, and all of these things.
Girl, I don't even know what my butt looks like because I can't see it.
Me either. I go like this. Wait, okay, But it's
I'd have to ask my husband. I hope he likes it because he's the only one that can see it.
They put a lot of emphasis on the guillot. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
I don't even.
But just breaking all of those lies basically, and working with the girls, and because I wish I would have had that. Now I grew up not in the aughts in the 80s. We were more body positivity then. I mean, it wasn't like that then, but now it is.
Oh, it's so bad. But I also think that there is some positive things that come from social media. I've started following several grown women that are kind of going down this body positive thing. There's several.
And age. Age as well.
Yes, age.
Age.
And there's one called named Tori Block that I follow on Instagram that, does the here's what I wear as a woman with curves.
Yes.
And then there's some that are here's the same outfit for different women of different sizes. And I love those because, even if we were all the same size, we're still going to have different body styles.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. I like the Instagram things where they say like the same woman at 150 pounds, and the bodies all look
totally
different.
different.
You know,
And like, yeah, and or they're skinnier.
Yeah.
They like, it's ridiculous. And
Right.
then they gained weight and their body looks
or
better.
you gain muscle.
Yeah, you
or,
gain muscle. Yeah, because
and
it
of
weighs
course,
more.
And you're like, 7 feet tall, and I'm like, 2 feet tall.
We can't help that.
I mean, we can't all be tall like you.
But
Some of us are munchkins.
No, you're not.
Well, I am, but
You're
it's
a
okay.
firecracker.
It's okay. Well,
I love
I'm
it.
dynamite.
You're dynamite. I will tell you that. I agree with that. I will say that, like, acceptance, that's what I teach them about, like accepting who they are, where they're at. Acceptance is probably 80% of feeling freedom and peace in your life, is radical acceptance of who you are, where you're at, what you want to do, and just being okay with it.
Yeah.
And comparison will kill all your joy.
That's
and
right.
women, we always compare, so that's another thing we talk about.
Don't you think, though, once you get to be 50, like you get to a place where you just don't give a fuck? Like the 50, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, my give a damn is broke. Okay? So it's like, if you don't like me, that's fine, but I like me and my friends like me and I don't really care. And if you don't like this dress, I'm sorry, but I really like it. And I feel great in it.
And you look great. And I love your earring.
Thank you.
So what is the one piece of advice that you would leave women after divorce with to level themselves up?
One piece. Oh, there's so many.
I know, but you got to pick one.
You're going to make me cut it down to
Yes,
one?
just one.
Okay. One piece of advice is to, I would say, find a community or find a therapist to dig deep, to learn about self-awareness, self-reflection, get to know yourself, and also get to know your red flags and green flags for your picker. Because your picker probably is broken, and we don't want to pick with the broken picker again, if you know what I mean.
Don't jump in too quick. Don't jump back into those waters too quick till you fix the
So
picker.
taking time, taking
Yeah.
time to get to know who you are.
Right. So if people want to know more about Jeanette, want to come and talk to you and get empowered by you because you are so wonderful, how can they get in touch with you?
They can go to SerenitySpringsWellness.org. That's my website. Or they can look me up on TikTok. It's under Serenity Springs.
And you
or
do
Instagram.
some great videos over there.
I'm not consistent. I need to be consistent.
Well,
but,
we all need to be more
yes.
consistent.
Or you can find me here at Divorce to Dynamite on their webpage.
Yeah.
Because
Yes, ma'am.
I work with Michelle.
Yes, ma'am. So join our community and you can get to know Jeanette in the community as well. So SerenitySpringsWellness.org, Jeanette Chivvis, I said it right.
Yes.
And Jeanette's so wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank y'all for being here and joining us at Divorce to Dynamite, and we'll see you next time.